Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on the YouTube account, and as we can see, guys, Althera has been really making a big impact within AFK Arena. Let me know if my mic is coming in a little bit quiet. I don't know. I haven't been feeling the greatest, but overall, I had to redo some settings. They changed some things on Streamlabs, so we had to really update and change a couple things in there. Now, when we start looking at the account itself, you'll notice that we are in 76-18. Yesterday, I actually set it up to run campaign formations. Stepped away for a minute, was a little bit longer than I expected. Came back and we had finished 62 stages within AFK Arena. We pushed through an incredible amount of content. Looking at where we are now, and even looking at the rewards for the campaign, we were on 75-16. Now we are on 76-18. So we pushed well over a chapter, which is more of the end game formations. So we'll collect up all these resources. And we've been giving a lot of feedback lately to AFK Arena, to Lilith, looking at a lot of stuff when it comes to a lot more of the end game, being able to get one, heroes that make sense for the content, and two, resources that really do make sense for the content. So in here, even looking at your epic emblem chest, not seeing, we're getting diamonds out of here, but ultimately we are not getting any arcane staff. So we know there are two new collections that are going to be coming. Everything and everybody right now is just kind of in a holding pattern when it comes to AFK Arena. You can see we have some more draconic insignias, but they are still not giving us access to those arcane staffs like we're looking for overall. Even in here, they haven't updated anything. As we continue to go through, as we continue to actually get more within the Ghoulish Gallery, like I had said on Tuesday, so tomorrow will be the actual patch notes. On Tuesday will be the actual patch, meaning we're going to have access to the new support draconic hero. We'll also have access within the South Zone to the two new collections. Now we're getting kind of the mixed reviews with the two new collections that we're seeing out of here, because they seem kind of odd. Some PvP focused, like Nara's collection, seems like it is going to be really PvP focused. Personally, I hope we don't have to build them overall because it gets so incredibly expensive. And even looking in here in the Mystic Cage, guys, trying to get these and building out everything within the Bazaar Totems, it's expensive. It is still so expensive with minimal to no resources, nothing from AFK rewards. When it comes to arcane staffs overall, I'm pretty sad to see. What's going on, Mustafa? Lith is here. What is going on? Lith has been crushing it, guys. I noticed this morning we were kind of playing around over here in the Arena of Heroes, and Lith, I believe, was north of like 5, 6, right there, guys, 6 trillion combat rating within 3 teams. And you can see, guys, 1 trillion, 2. So they're combined over 6 trillion, which is crazy. But a lot of that is attributed to not only the hero builds that we see here, but levels. Levels in this game make a really big difference when you get to a point within AFK Arena. 1265, I believe, is still the cap, because I believe Photon Earth is still the same, 1265. I believe that's the cap. And then, of course, the cap goes up every 5 levels, or goes up 5 levels every single time that we get a new hero released to AFK Arena. And they just continue to climb. Now, of course, for my account, we've been pushing a lot of levels in here, making a lot of progression, and continuing. We're at 1 trillion right there, 1 trillion. Overall, I think we're at 12 trillion. Yeah, so we're kicking it at 12 trillion, which again is kind of crazy with the amount of progression that we've made over here. And that has taken 6 years. When we start looking overall at how incredibly long and how much time and effort has been put into AFK Arena, that is over the course of, of 6 years in the entirety. Been missing the streams lately. Oh, thank you for joining us. What's up? Is it Masters? And Zap is here as well. Did you ever talk if Althera is a top priority hero or even an SSS hero? Honestly, right now, I would say, and we'll do a couple summons for her in here, is she is going to be a top tier hero. And we're seeing it right now that it seems like she is going to be, and is really kind of taking, and it's interesting because the dynamic between her and Leviathan, and really looking at Skylin and thinking about utility wise. So let's take a step back for this. Yeah, on who to build first. Let's take a step back on this, because we know when you start looking at Skylin is being used in the treasure scramble. That was the only place, that was the exclusive place that Skylin was being used within AFK Arena. Then, of course, we release a hero like Althara, and then all of a sudden, Skylin is being used in the Cursed Realm, is being used a couple other places. because she has the ability to amplify the Dragon Speak damage that we see. So some of the older heroes within AFK Arena, essentially, that we weren't using for a considerable amount of time, I feel like she kind of gave rebirth in there to Skyline, just for the fact now that they can amplify the damage. But when we start looking at some of these formations, she is actually eclipsing Skyland's formation. And we know that overall with Skyland, it's going to be kind of the power creep. So when you start thinking bigger picture, like I was saying, when we look in here again, right, and honestly, some of these formations right there, guys, Lysander is by far number one best in slot. There is Envy, and there she is, guys, 36 billion damage. Again, Skyland's not here. So we are seeing her right now used in the Nightmare Corridor, used in the Treasure Scramble, used in the Cursed Realm as a best in slot damage dealer. So right there, best in slot damage dealer within this iteration of Dark Namora. Even looking at the Nightmare Corridor, this is one I believe this is the Skyland formation that she's being used right there. So again, where we had Skyland that was worked out of formation, Skyland was not actually in the Nightmare Corridor. And then, of course, he worked his way back into the Nightmare Corridor because of the amplification aspect that she is providing him. So now we're seeing him within the Nightmare Corridor. We're seeing him within the Treasure Scramble. But honestly, the way that I would look at it right now is building her first, just for the simple fact, if you have Skyland, he's not going to be used in the Cursed Realm. He's not going to be used in the Nightmare Corridor if you don't have her. Now, the other question with that is when you look at the hero, she works at Legendary. So there is actually a buff, I believe, that she puts up on the allied heroes. So a lot of players are running her, even not completely built out, what we're seeing right here, and doing very well in formations, even without, again, her being fully built in the entirety. Even here, guys, not even at a 60 engraving, still doing incredibly good, incredibly well in the formation. So honestly, I would probably say build her out. Leviathan, we know he works in a significant amount of places. I feel like he's going to be moving down the tier list because we're not seeing him, again, used within the Nightmare Corridor. We're not seeing him used. And I feel like overall, he's not super difficult to replace in a lot of different places. So I would definitely go. And again, we haven't been through all the iterations. When you look at Elthara, we haven't been through all the iterations or all the, the different game modes to see where she's being used. But so far, every single game mode that we have run, she has been best in slot in formations. That, again, really puts her into that top SSS tier. And even thinking of like a Skyland, again, is still kind of in that SSS tier just because he is kind of reborn with her and with the Dragon Speak amplification that you're doing. So honestly, guys, if you built either of those, Leviathan would probably be a lower priority than her. And I feel like kind of right on par with Elthara and Skyland. Again, Skyland is going to have a lot of push within the Treasure Scramble itself. And Treasure Scramble is a really, really big game mode. When you look at the ability to get a lot of resources out of this game mode, this is a place that gives you a ton of rewards. I mean, look at this. You're getting all of your engraving mats right there. You're getting your tier stones. You're getting your red chest. You're getting diamonds for summons. You're getting your Stargazer scrolls. This is one place that gives you an incredible amount of resources. And honestly, if you're newer to AFK Arena, this is a place that you want to really dedicate your time and effort going in there and pushing out the Treasure Scramble, because it is a place that yields you a lot of return in there. I'm building Leviathan still. Is it worth them to leave at Mythic? I did, Lucas, and again, I don't know. The effectiveness of him really does work well at a basic level, kind of looking at Mythic, kind of looking at not putting so much resources into him. Because even when we look at overall utility, he is starting to come in a little bit lower. Of course, the effectiveness is going to be lower if you keep him at Mythic, but he's still going to work. What's going on? Is that DRXRP? What is up, Hippo? How was your morning, man? It was good. And my voice is kind of a little bit messed up. Been a little sick for the last couple of days. When you got kids like I do, they come home and they're sick and they get everyone else sick, and that's kind of the case that we have here. What's going on? Juan Ghazi is here as well. Yeah, so I mean, like I said, bigger picture, I feel like she's a hero you're not going to go wrong with building. And again, the effectiveness of Skyland is just increasing just for the simple fact of her. And you also have to remember, guys, is we're also getting a new Draconic hero that is a support hero on Tuesday. we have to see exactly what that looks like. So we're going to have to see where the hero is being used as a draconic hero, as a support hero, thinking of a hero like Valfura. That is very broken within formations. That works incredibly well. Utility is really that top tier with the hero. I feel like the new hero is going to have that exact same kind of pull with the support that we do see in there. Hello, brother. What's going on? Sour Haze. Good to see you in the stream. It has been a while, brother. Hope everything is well with you. Who is my favorite hero in all of AFK Arena? Honestly, I still go back to Rowan. I might have to switch this every now and then, but yeah, I still loved Rowan, guys. When Rowan came out originally, he absolutely crushed it on the account. I like how he's built. I like the energy regeneration with him, and I feel like again, I'm going to have to kind of update this for years. It has been Rowan, and I want to see the awakened version of Rowan, which would be kind of crazy. And even thinking about that is what hero is coming next, because we know again we got the Highborn Draconic hero, we have the regular Draconic hero. They still owe us an awakened Wilder. So this is going to be it's going to be interesting because they still do owe us an Awakened Wilder, which should be in 2025, which means the next patch should be the Awakened Wilder. We're going to have to see exactly what that looks like, but technically it should be the Awakened Wilder in the next patch just to get it into 2025. If it's not, they're going to be pushing the last Awakened hero into 2026, which I don't think they'll do. But if you caught the AFK Arena or the Lilith the Facebook page, they actually released, which I'm going to cover in a little bit. They actually released quite a bit about Zolrath and Orthos in the timelines and all of that with the events that are coming up over on the test server, and then of course they'll come up on global. But I feel like even here, guys, they might give us an Awakened Wilder, very similar to what we just seen with Falks. That is not a hero of the Wilder faction. I don't know exactly who they're going to use, but it is going to be pretty interesting. Who would you advise to rock as the first dragon? There is only one dragon in there. If you're looking to rock a dragon, guys, it is Scion. Scion, we are looking for right now in the free-to-play account. Scion is a hero that is very, very broken. Best in slot in a lot of different formations. And overall, looking at Scion, Scion is actually the filler for Skylin. So when you start looking at these heroes, again, I do not have Skylin built, as you can see right here. I use Scion in all of the places. Now, he does require a little bit of a bigger build because he is a damage dealer. But overall, definitely as the first Draconic hero that you're getting right here, guys, this is absolutely priority number one when it comes to a regular hero within AFK Arena. Scion is super broke. He is very, very broke, very best in slot within a lot of different places. I built Aethera now, but she makes Skyland superpower OP again now. Yeah, and that's the thing is with Althara. And honestly, when you look, because I borrow, and I know Lith lets me use some heroes, Sour Haze does, a couple other players. I actually build or borrow a couple heroes out of here. So right here, I mean, short of the treasure scramble, I have the ability to use the heroes or borrow the heroes, because if I build Althara and then I have Skyland in here, I can use them if we need them in the Nightmare Corridor, if we need them in the Curse Realm. I do have a copy, and the exact same right here with Kalon. We can use either of these kind of based on the build on who you need. This is the reason you always, always, always make sure that you go in here and you merc your heroes. It does make a really big difference on the utility and going through there. Is it just me, or does it seem like the Draconics about to be released is early in the cycle? It is. It seems like Lith that they're picking up the speed on the Draconic heroes. It really shouldn't have been this early within the cycle. Even looking at the Draconic heroes again, when we just got Begrus, and Begrus was not too many releases to go. And then, of course, we got Althara, and then they're pushing out the new one. Honestly, it's faster than it should be. And I absolutely agree with you, Lith. It is faster, faster than it should be. How are the summons for Althara? Last time we did incredibly well. I think here we have 50. Let's do some summons in here. But I think we have 50, 55 maybe right now. These, of course, we are saving for Tuesday. We're going to try to get a couple more copies. Still looking for that additional copy of Begrus, but we will also get that extra freebie. So make sure when you're summoning for the new regular Draconic hero that you are picking all of those freebie copies up. And in here, yeah, we have 56. So we need 3 copies for Ascended. Right now, she is at Mythic Plus. 3 for Ascended, and then, of course, the big pain in the ass, like what Sour said, you have to get the additional 3 copies out of here when it comes to the hero. You have to get them out of here. You can't use, your Stargazer Scrolls. You have to build them out here in the entirety, which is, super, super expensive, guys. So let's see if we can get 1 or 2 more copies out of here. Draconic Supplies, this is a horrible way to buy those. You got to buy them out of the events we have going around the hero. But let's see if we can get some diamonds out of here. It's been a while since we've gotten diamonds. And I know last time we did get pretty lucky with the copies. So hopefully, I mean, even looking where we're at, that's not a lot of summons. That is not a lot of summons. That this might yield us 1 copy. This might yield us 0 copies, just based on where she is. Because remember, it doesn't have the higher rates. This is still the 2% probability, meaning it is roughly 65 to 75 summons to get 1 single copy. It's not the 55 to 60, which we see, in the other 2 game modes. It's so expensive to get these heroes. And the final one in here, guys, doesn't yield us anything. So that brings us 56 summons closer to getting another copy. It is kind of crazy. Yeah, we should have gotten Awakened. And exactly, Sour. I know that this release, and again, a lot of players were kind of saying exactly what you're looking at, Sour Haze. This should have been the release that we seen at the Awakened Wilder, but they didn't. I don't know if it wasn't ready, if they had to swap, anything of that nature. But yeah, we should have seen the summon in there with the Awakened Wilder, but we didn't. We didn't get, and we didn't see it. It's actually harder to build the regular Draconic heroes to the Highborn. Yes, 100%. I agree with you, Lith. And honestly, they need to do desired hero summons. We have talked about this for a considerable amount of time. They really, really need to do something, either doing a desired hero summons. Well, let's say even with the desired hero summons, if you could get, instead of being something of this nature where it's 8 copies, if they could do a desired hero summons where you get 2 copies, or maybe, you get 2 copies or 3 or 4 copies, it would make it easier kind of month to month to month with the rolling desired hero summons. Or if they lower down the amount of heroes that we have within the wish list, that would be another one, which I seemed would be kind of a difference. I thought I'd hear about Leviathan or Alan, but it surprised me. Yeah, Lan is a hero, and as they continue to pump out a lot more of these kind of support heroes, Lan is another one. We're seeing her replaced in a couple different places, just because, again, she's an older hero, not really a mega priority to build right now. But a lot of players have slowly kind of stepped away from building Lan as we continue to get more heroes within the factions themselves. Again, a lot of players kind of stepping away from them a little bit. Yeah, Theria costed me 843 insignias. That's crazy. It's crazy, the sheer cost. Again, they need to up the probability to the 2.5. That would take your 843 possibly down to 6 or 7, really making it well worth it at that point. The only more expensive if you have decent luck and used a ton of gems, because there's no guarantee for regular. Yeah, if you remember, and I don't know if you caught the video, Lith, I went through, I believe it was 300 summons looking to get copies of Begress, and we got 0. I think it was 314 summons if I remember correctly, and we were looking to get copies of Begress, and we did not get any copies of Begress at all. I'm still looking for, again, a couple other heroes in here. We'll just pop a couple summons, and I might just wait till we get another regular faction hero, because all of this stuff we're not using at all. Even looking at the scrolls, even looking at the companion points, I might just kind of save them. Even here, Falks is already at 3 stars, and then we almost have 400 of our time emblems. Again, looking at Falks, we already have Falks. Waiting to see the Wilder, waiting to see exactly what we're going to build. All of the regular 4 faction heroes, we only have, I believe, 3. I think we have 3 heroes that are not 5 stars. I mean, we're really close to just having everyone maxed out in the entirety. They need to find something to do with this, with the rickety cart, and even with the recycling of the heroes. If you look here, with our hero coins, we're already like 3 million in with the barracks. Yeah, 3.4 million in with the hero coins. Again, there's no reason for hero coins. They need to update. They need to change some of the places that we have within here that just kind of cater, either once you made a certain progression, maybe a certain level wise, that you could actually make use of what we have in AFK Arena. But they don't, because they don't release the 4 faction fast enough for reset. Yeah, and Lith, it honestly, the 4 faction heroes, what did we get? And oh, we haven't even started the Misty Valley. Good Lord, guys. We have 17 days on this account. Um, we can hop through here. This will give me the ability to chat with you guys and kind of go through everything. You know what? Let's drop, yeah. We'll drop her in here, our oldie but goodie. But overall, when it comes to AFK Arena, they're very, very slow, and I feel like they've stepped away from the regular 4 faction heroes. It's going to be super interesting to see what they do with the combination of Zolrath and with Zolrath and Orthos, and kind of how that plays into everything. Um, it's going to be interesting to see. It really is going to be pretty interesting to see how that plays out. What's that looks like overall. Do we know how the new Highborn Draconic does at 1 copy in the Treasure Scramble? Um, if you can protect her, drink in the sites, it will work. The problem is she is very, very, very squishy. So the chance of you protecting her in there, again, you might be able to. I did the exact same thing. I picked up 1 copy and I'm using her right now on the free to play account. If you've seen last time we did the summons, I did pick up that 1 copy in there. Um, but overall, again, the effectiveness if you can keep her alive, um, she'll do well. She'll do well in the game mode if you can keep her alive. Last 4 heroes have been limited to no use. Yeah, I know. I thought it saved me engraving mats and red chests, which is good. What's your thoughts on the new dragon support? Um, Honestly, Yoshi, it's way too early. It's again, I know the hero hasn't even been released, and the problem that we're finding is when it comes to the newer heroes, is there's not a crazy amount of players that play anymore on the test server. So we don't have the ability to really get a genuine test, Yoshi, of how well the support hero works, where the hero is being used. Even looking on the test server, again, there's not a, in my opinion, I feel like it's not a good sample size of the new hero because we're not seeing that many players use her. And even then, I seen, Althara was being used over there just at Legendary. Some players built her, some players didn't. Again, it depends who you have and who's playing over there. It's interesting to see. So all heroes must be the same class. And this game mode's pretty easy. We also know the Pursuit of Treasure is coming up. That's going to be up. And then we have all the holiday events that are coming. So there's quite a bit. I feel like we need a busted Awaken hero to come out next to move things in Treasure Scramble Nightmare Quarter. Yeah, it seems like, Gazi, a lot of the Draconic heroes. It does seem like a lot of the Draconic heroes are ones that are just kind of crushing all the content. They're so much more powerful than what we see with all of even the Celestials and the Hypos, and even a majority of the Awaken heroes. We do have, let me put this on 4 speed. But yeah, we see a lot of the Highborn Draconic heroes. Even the regular Draconic heroes have made a pretty strong statement within AFK Arena on how well they do perform. We're seeing a lot of them used, again, in a lot of different game modes, and they do work. They do work incredibly well. Yeah, next will be the Awakened Wilder. Now, of course, hopefully it should be. We don't know if it's going to be an Awakened Wilder, if by chance it's going to be an Awaken Anyone. I think it really threw a lot of people, including myself, really threw a loop in there with what was going on and how they kind of built, the Lightbearer hero into a Graveborn hero. I know the storyline. I feel like that is something that they're going to do again, and we could definitely see that again. The other one in here was Nara. But yeah, it's interesting to see again kind of how they broke that piece out and how they put the Lightbearer folks into the Graveborn faction. That really again kind of makes me think that no holds bars, and there's no really faction heroes that are safe when it comes to what could be or who could be the next Wilder hero, if they want to change somebody over, if they want to bring someone from the Graveborn to the Wilders or vice versa. They kind of open Pandora's box, in my opinion, to what happens and what really becomes of it when it comes to these Awakened heroes. My daughter made me some tea this morning for my my sore throat, as you can hear. How's the sound, guys? Let me know real quick. Drop a comment down below. How's the sound? Like I said earlier, I was messing around with the mic. I was messing around with quite a few things. Anytime that we have updates to Streamlabs and a few other things, it seems to throw off the sound. it seems to throw off, like, the DBs and everything when I'm building out even some of the filters. Good brother. Thank you, Sour Haze. Yeah, I was playing around. I recorded a couple of videos. If you look at the last one, it was kind of a little, yeah, it sounded kind of a little funny to me. So that's why I wanted to see win with 5 different factions formation. Might be a Wilder turn to a Mauler. Yeah, it could be, or even vice versa. Because remember, it should be technically it should be a Wilder. We could possibly see a Mauler turned into a Wilder, which again, it's you're kind of just opening Pandora's box to what is going to come. But yeah, it's interesting to see, because if a Mauler comes to a Wilder, again, I don't know where they're crossing over the storyline and what that's going to look like. And again, it's not like we're just taking the regular 4 faction heroes and giving them the Awaken variation. And I'm almost thinking, and I know a lot of players again have seen a lot of speculation about this, if we're going to see, and I think Greyborn, if we're going to see something that comes down the pipeline that is going to be Orthos, the Awakened version of Orthos, and the Awakened version of Orthos and Zolrath. That again is kind of a speculation that we've seen over on Reddit and Discord. A couple players talking about, are they going to do a double Awakened hero with both of those heroes in the entirety? Me personally, and again, with the event that's coming up for the holiday, you pick if you want to go with Orthos, you pick if you want to go in there, and if you want to run with Zolrath. It's a pretty cool event. It's similar to what we've seen before, but overall, between all of those, I think they're going to do the Awakened version of them. That's kind of what I was thinking. But I do not like Orthos. Personally, I love Zolrath. I like how he works. I like the reset in the battle. Right there, he is in the top. I do not like Orthos for the fact that it is just a pain in the butt to go in there and reset my tree all the time. Anytime that formations are using Orthos and changing out the gear and changing this and changing that, it really does drive me crazy when we have to switch everything in AFK Arena. Like, we're moving gear, removing this, putting stuff here. I feel like the combinations should just work as intended instead of having to play around with all of the stuff to make the formation work. Again, it's something that I don't like that they do. Going in there, having to spend, 300 diamonds every time you reset. And there's been a couple times, myself included, that I forgot to reset everything back. Yeah, I hate moving everything. Lith, I am right there on board with you. It is something that drives me crazy when I go in there. It just adds a whole nother layer. And that's kind of the problem. It adds a whole nother layer of complexity to game modes that are already crazy complex. When you start looking at collections, where you can assign collections, who's using what collection, it does add a whole entire complexity piece to AFK Arena that I feel like even a lot of players don't like to deal with. I feel like there's a whole part of it they don't want to. Swapping collections, removing gear, yes. Again, that is something that does kind of drive me crazy when we have to change everything in there. It really does, because I'll look and I'll run in there. Front line must be support. I thought we put support. Who did we drop in here for our maulers? Support. He has not support. Oh, Goran's not support. That's right. All right, we got it though. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited though with the new Draconic Hero. Again, getting the free copies was kind of a step in the right direction, because we do get the ability to get some free copies of the new Draconic Hero, the new regular one. But I still feel like two of the big misses, and really two big things that they have to look at right now, is being able to actually change or adjust the Ghoulish Gallery, and doing the same with Draconic Summons. There's the two. They should give you unlimited tries in Curse Realm and Nightmare Corridor, maybe an adjustment tree without the specific. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. Gazi, that would be pretty cool. And what is happening, Peter? Long time no stream. Thank you for joining us stream. Good to see you back, Peter. Yeah, I don't like the unlimited tries. I'll be completely transparent with you, Gazi. I don't want to go into the Curse Realm or the Nightmare Corridor if they give us unlimited tries and end up spending 4 hours going in there and really breaking it down and looking at everything. I like that they give it a limited amount of tries, because I would go in there and I would grind out and I would literally just set it on repeat for hundreds of battles to try to get a better score. What's going on, Graham? Thanks for joining us for the stream. Yeah, I like the limited events or limited tries. I wish they would give us more. I feel like 10's a point where you kind of get the feel, because even when I go in, for instance, when I look at both of those game modes, I go in there, I do usually 2 attempts at a time, because 1 attempt, if you're going in there, can just be the RNG factor. Yeah, it's unlimited if you spend the gems. And again, I don't want to, Lith. I'm not going to spend the gems. But like I was saying, is I go in there and I do usually 2 attempts. Once I go through and I get 2 pretty decent attempts with my build, then I'll usually spend another 10 attempts to go through there. Yeah, I don't want to spend a ton of gems in the Nightmare Corridor. And I feel like, again, that's what a lot of players do, especially a lot of the larger players, any of the whale players, is they're spending, hundreds, if not thousands, tens of thousands of gems in there or diamonds in there to actually get in the top 200, which is kind of crazy. Do we have any info about the next Awakened Hero? It's going to be a wilder, just because literally 2025 we have gotten everyone else. But as of right now, I haven't seen any leaks. And a lot of leaks we get, they come from the Chinese server. If you've ever seen some of the leaks or some of the snaps, because usually the Chinese server will get it before we do here in the States. But I have not seen anything about it. I know, again, there's an event that's coming up right now that is around Orthos and Zorath. I'm going to be interested to see exactly what that event looks like. But again, you kind of pick your team. I'm going to cover it in a video in a little bit so you guys can kind of check it out. And I mean, it looks pretty cool. I don't know some of the game modes, some of the formations. Like, I don't know what they're planning to do with the Golden Frontier. I know they gave us the whole feedback survey. I have to go, brother. Have a nice day. Oh, you're welcome, Sour. Thank you for joining us. It's awesome to see you guys. Yeah, like I was saying, when we go in there and when we look at some of the different game modes, I feel like I think I'm losing my train of thought here. 5 different factions in the formation. Oh, the Golden Frontier. We were talking about the Golden Frontier. That's a part where I feel like they're missing something. They did the survey for the Golden Frontier, and I know, and again, feedback that I get on the channel itself, a lot of players are not happy with the Golden Frontier, how it works, and how you can leave and go to different leagues. And with the different leagues, they kind of dominate. It's hard with the Golden Frontier. And again, a lot of players just choose not to play, or they go into the formation, they go into the Golden Frontier, and again, they just go AFK. I feel like there needs to be a point where after, let's say, 3 days or whatever, if you're not active within the Golden Frontier in 3 days, they just go ahead and they move you or they get rid of you. I would definitely know. Does anyone know if Althara for this round needs to be a very high build? Yes, because when we looked at it a little bit earlier, Ghazi, she was the top slot in damage. And I believe when we looked at the Nightmare Corridor, specifically in this round, she was the only damage dealer in there. So if you don't have that 40960, yeah, it's not going to be enough in here. Again, I know we looked at it a little bit earlier in here, but I believe she is the best in slot as it sits right now. What do we need in here? Highly in Villanelle. Where's Villanelle? Go. And number 2. There we go. Yeah. Yeah, this round does require a high build because, again, she was best in slot damage dealer within the Cursed Realm, and she was best in slot damage dealer in the Nightmare Corridor, teamed up with Skyland. So both of those formations, Ghazi, she was the best in slot damage dealer in there. What's going on, Stefan? Hope you're doing well. Yeah, just a little bit under the weather here. Golden Frontier is my least favorite, and that's what everyone says, Lith. Exactly what you said. The least favorite part of the game itself. I'm in agreement. I feel like I hop in there. I do it just because I know there's rewards that are out there. Do you really know what's going on in the game mode itself? Not really. If you're not a leader, you're not going in there and going through different places and seeing where you're going. It's interesting. Honestly, I've been busy playing AFK Journey. I still do the quest. The story is the best by far. Favorite heroes coming out in 3 days. Who is it, Peter? I haven't seen who they released out in Journey. The Journey I liked, and it just seemed like a lot of times we were hitting walls. That was kind of the problem that we seen in there with Journey is just hitting walls of progression, and that's where they were trying to get over them with doing the seasons. I know when they released the seasons, they were trying to get those in trying to get rid of trying to remove some of the barriers for players to get in there. All heroes must be the same. I hope you're doing well. I had to choose one awakened Mauler to tear up the tower. Who would it be? Oh man, the awakened Mauler to tear up the tower. Um, our formations that I mean I would do Skarath just because it if you build another awakened Mauler short of Skarath, if you build Entendre, if you build Sophia, if you build Brutus, you're not going to use them anywhere else. If you build the awakened version right here of Scrath, you're going to have a lot of utility with the hero. There's actually a lot of different game modes that the hero is being used. So I would build the awakened version of Scrath. I wouldn't build anyone else. Brendan, that's exactly, and that, honestly, that's the only Mauler. And again, there's a couple other places Skarath is being used in AFK Arena. It would definitely that's 100% where I would go with the hero, just because everybody else isn't going to have any use, which I know kind of sucks, but yeah, nobody else is going to have any use at all within those game modes. So let's hop in here, guys. We'll claim up these rewards. I'm almost thinking I'm going to use and pick up the new Greyborn right here just so we can use it a little bit further. We're also getting, you can see, a couple more and only 5 insignias, 5 scrolls. That's kind of crappy in there. His name is Galahad, or Gala for short. Galahad, like Knights of the Round Table Galahad, because that would be pretty cool. Journey took too much time and too much money. So Lith, that was my problem. Exactly what you said right there. It wasn't the money factor because we were free to play on Journey. My problem was time. Going there, I was spending like an hour or two, I would say at least an hour or two on a regular basis to go through there and make some progression. It was literally just the time that I had to spend in going through the different game modes and trying to stay up. It was too much. It was too. Oh, her name is Galad. That's pretty cool. Is the next patch coming with new collections? Yes. Yes, it is, Gazi. So not only are we getting the regular Draconic hero, we are also getting the two new collections, which is Nara's collection and Sonya's collection. So it is going to be a warrior collection, and there is going to be a tanking collection. We're going to have to see. So if that rumor is true, we're going to get 3-dimensionals in 2 weeks. I don't think they do it that much, Dale. I don't think they could. The only other thing would be if they did where they've done, and if you guys remember, if you guys have been playing AFK Arena for a while, like honestly, when Hilduin came out, or when Zafriel came out, and if they do it correctly, so if they release more than 1 or 2 Awakened heroes, if they give us one of the Awakened heroes and then have you summon for the other one, and I almost feel like Dale, that's what they're looking to do. Where if you're going through, and again, around this holiday event, it seems like they're going to have you pick either Orthos, or you are going to pick Zolrath. With both of them, I don't know if you're going to get free copies. It just shows that you're going to get summoning stuff and regulars like that. But you could go in there and pick or choose which new hero, if they do the Awakened hero, that you want to get. Again, I don't know how it's going to line up with the timeline, knowing that a Wilder hero should be coming, or essentially if they'll play out the Zolrath and Orthos really timelines for the next 2 months and then release both of them together. Because also remember, we could be looking at possibly getting some crossover events or some collaborations. And I know the question that I get every single day, guys, is with the Dimensional Heroes, is why do we not have Marseille within the garrison? Why do we not have Kahan and Sun Jin Woo? This again is something that we have talked about for a long time. And again, going back to Lilith and AFK Arena, why they were never released at the 6-month time frame, we still do not have a clear answer on, unfortunately. But again, that is something that we have brought up many, many times to AFK Arena. I don't know if it's an issue with, Delicious Dungeon, with the owner of the actual anime. I don't know exactly what it is, but yeah, we have not seen either of those. And the same with Sheltier. Sheltier is another one that is used a lot within the Treasure Scramble. Unfortunately, not seeing Sheltier at all in here, not having the ability to get the hero, not being able to exchange. We're gonna have to see exactly what that looks like in the couple different game modes. Again, it's gonna be interesting to see what that kind of looks like. What is going on, Steven? Finally catching another stream live. Thank you guys for joining us. It's awesome to see. Like I said earlier, guys, we pushed through a lot of content over the last couple days. I set this to auto run, and when I did set it to auto run, it literally ran through 62 stages, which was kind of crazy. So we're in 7618. And I know world map, I don't know how many are there. What, another three? 76. Where's 77? 78. Is that it? Is that it, Lith? Because I know Lith's right at the end. So is 78 the last? So we could push through 76. I feel like somewhere between 77 and 78. 78 isn't open. So this is not, oh, it's locked right now. So we're right there, guys. We're on 76. 77, yeah, it's locked for me. But he said 78 is not open. That's what I thought. I figured you were right there. Power locked, yeah. I feel like that's going to be the problem that I run into is I'm going to be power locked in a lot. Short answer on dimensional, getting that when they release, don't trust that they can be garrison. Yeah, Lith, 100%. I agree with you. 77.49 is the top. Oh, that's where you're stuck right now. Yeah, so again, the garrison for those is kind of weird. So weird is we're not getting an awoken. So essentially, Dale, it might be the next. That again is going to be kind of the rumor because if you look at the time that we did, and I don't use chat at all, but it'll probably still pop up here. But when you start looking at kind of the timeline from where we got Falks and then getting other heroes, technically the next release should be the Awaken Wilder. Again, with it being Awaken Wilder and knowing what they did with Falks, we don't know if it's going to be an Awaken Wilder as in an actual Wilder hero itself, or if we're going to see another like an Awaken Mauler or Awaken Graveborn, or it could just be a traditional Wilder. We're gonna have to see exactly what that looks like, just based on the utility. If we do get an Awaken Wilder, and if they stick to their schedule, it would literally be the next hero release, which is our last hero release of 2025. Should be that Awaken Wilder, and technically, like I said, it should be. I don't know if the new Draconic Hero is good. What's your opinion? Right now, Peter, it is way too early. Again, we talked about this a little bit earlier today. When it comes to the new Draconic Hero, there are not a lot of people anymore that play over on the test server. So we don't see a lot of utility with new heroes. We don't see a lot of play over there. There might be a couple of heroes that get it, possibly looking at like the trial version, stuff like that. But we don't get a real test. There's not, hundreds of thousands of people that play over there anymore. Even looking at my old guild, most of them have quit playing. We can't really base anything until he goes global, till we start seeing the trial, and Wales will figure out exactly where and if he fits in anywhere. But honestly, when you look at him as a support Draconic hero, and then you look at both sides of it, where he's a buffer and he's a debuffer, I don't see a place in AFK Arena where that combination would not be used at all. Just for the simple fact of the buffing and the debuffing and a support hero within there. I feel like the hero is going to be used, and we'll find a place for him as the buffing and everything. No, the next hero is the dimensional. Description of the hero by Dolly is matching on both classic companions. That means dimensional. Oh, if they do a dimensional, then yeah, that's no Wilder for 25 if that's the case. I didn't even look at that yet or even think about that, Dale. So if they're going to do a dimensional hero, I'm wondering if it's going to be a dimensional hero as in one that we just have a dimensional hero, or is it going to be a crossover for the dimensional hero? That's going to be pretty interesting. Thank you for all the help with this game. Oh, you're welcome, Darren. Yeah, guys, big shout out, guys, to all of you watching the stream, but as well as all the other content creators. I know Shooty over on Companions, but thinking of, Manuel and looking at Arcman and Thibaut and Rockaday and all of the content creators out there, guys. It's a really big network of all of us kind of working together to provide everything that we can within AFK Arena. It makes a big difference when I can use some of their guides and going through there. Do you think this game is slowly dying? Do you think it could make a comeback? Or did LG mess up with the companions and journey? I feel like it gets kind of a revitalization missing every time we do a crossover. If you look at Delicious and Dungeon, it brought in a lot of new players to AFK Arena. When you look at the crossover that we've seen with Shahan and Sun Jin Woo that brought a lot of other players back into AFK Arena. I feel like there's a lot of places that they could absolutely clean up with this game to keep and maintain and really attract new heroes. I mean, I'm going to do a video on it because even as a new player, I get a lot of questions. For instance, when you go through here and you look at the new event, and again, this is a question that I get all the time: lyrical exploration. So this is again feedback that I've given to AFK Arena. When you look into reward chest, we have Iran, which again early game possibly used. Edwin not used at anywhere. Salakai not used anywhere. Adrian Elise not really going to be used anywhere because you require this hero to be built up quite a bit. The only option in here would be Flora out of this chest. But again, Flora is one that's not really used anywhere. So they need to continue to update, going through campaign progressions, going through rewards on all of the events, making sure we have at least one or two heroes that are relatively new to the content that we have here. And even thinking again, earlier game where they're giving us copies of Warwick and they're giving us copies of, Ren, or they're giving us copies of Burke. They're giving us all these copies of heroes that no one will ever use, and players will start building them. Then they get kind of burned because it's not going to be a hero they're going to use anywhere, and they start wondering where they're used in the tier list, and they're not really used anywhere at all, which is kind of tough. Sounds like it could be either Hero Academia or One Punch Man. I've never seen the AFK Reddit is angry. Going to find out we're getting another dragon. Yeah, drink. And that's it, guys. Is at what point is there a happy balance, like what Drink said, between releasing new heroes too fast and really just farming whales for money, or giving free-to-play players the ability to build the heroes in 5 to 6 months after release? Now, of course, when it comes to a free-to-play player, you're not going to compete on the same level as players that are putting a lot of money into AFK Arena. It's impossible. If there's a brand new, Highborn Draconic hero that comes out, and if you're a larger player or a whale player and you can just buy the hero, max the hero out day one, of course, that's going to be a lot faster than we normally see with a lot of other players that just take an extended amount of time to build them. But of course, like I said, it wasn't long since we got Begress. It really wasn't long since we got Begress, and then we got the Awaken one, and then we have another one right now. They need to cool it down. They need to. And originally, when they did the Draconic Heroes, which is crazy because I believe it's going on about 2 years, but originally they said they were not going to release them as fast as we're seeing them released right now. And we are even thinking of this year, or really, I mean, you have Skyland, which I believe that was very early, and then Skyland was followed by Halia, and then they had Kalon, and then we did have right here with Althara. Over the last 12 14 months, we have seen 4 Highborn Draconic heroes. So you're talking less than 3 months that we're seeing them, and then we also did have quite a few of just the regular ones and the effectiveness of them. When you start looking even back here where you had Scion, pretty darn broken, Melion, and then you had Valfura, Begress, and now we have the new one that's coming up. The sheer cost of trying to build anything other than the Draconic heroes is incredibly difficult. Midoriya or Todoroki would be awesome. Vega would be cool, but not as cool. Yeah, I hope you gave them feedback. Same with the Ghoulish, or excuse me, with the Golden Frontier. I gave them feedback on every account that I could, exactly what I thought of it. So we'll see. We'll see if they're going to go ahead and change anything. If I wait for Awakened Scrat to be available to do the swap in April, or is it no 25 releases? Usually, Brendan, it will be no 25 releases. Traditionally, that's what they do. They might not limit it that much, but traditionally they do put a requirement on some of these heroes. And honestly, I would much rather see them go through and just do a reset to a hero versus a swap and just let me build up whoever I want. I really would, because there are a lot of heroes that are really old heroes that I built out that I don't use anymore. And I feel like with the ability to swap, we'd have to see. But be careful of that, Brendan, because there is sometimes that they will not let you swap, that they will go ahead and put rules in there about the swap, and then you will not be able to do the swap, or the swap essentially will be ineffective because they'll exclude some of the 2025 releases, which again, A lot of players have got completely burned in there. Let's see. Do we got any premiums? Nope. Let's see if we have a regular meteorite. We're going to go ahead and scoop this one up. And we're almost to our max. This is a game mode where, again, if you are in an active guild, you can do well in here if you actually play this event. But even here, like we had said before, they need to update some of these heroes that are in here. Even when we start looking at some of the chests that we have and some of the rewards that we get out of here, this is another place where, hey, some of these need to be updated. Even looking at, some of these heroes are being used, not all of them. Some of them at this point have kind of been phased out in the entirety, but they could look at updating a couple different places. Sound a bit sick, understandable. Yeah, yes, absolutely light. So it started Friday. Friday, my son came home sick. We went out Saturday. Saturday wasn't feeling the best. My throat is a little bit strained. My daughter made me tea this morning, try to take care of it. But yeah, I am a little bit sick, guys, a little bit under the weather. Understandable. Yeah, that is the reaction to the Draconic Heroes. It does really, really make me sick because it is pretty tough. It'll be no 2026 releases, not 25. Yeah, that's true. And is that how they did it before, Drink? That might be exactly how they did it before. It was no 26, because usually there'll be like one or two releases, and even if they do the double release in 26, so you could go ahead and get Scrath. But even then, I mean, if you're talking 4 months down the road, who knows if Scrath is even going to be used? I was thinking the last time they did the Hero Exchange was like 2 years now. Yeah, it's been a while, and they used to do it right around the holiday too. I really think yeah, by the time he comes around in April, you could have 1 star. Yeah, it also depends on who they release, Dale. That might be a big difference on who exactly they do release into AFK Arena. Because again, if they're going to do a double release, if we're going to see a few of these heroes kind of put together, again, it's going to be interesting to see if they end up doing Zolrath, if they actually do like that crossover with Zolrath, what collaborations are going to look like into 2026. And even now, guys, if you're not familiar with AFK Arena, even a lot of different games, most mobile games do not last going on 7 years. When we look at all the players that have played this game, when we look at all of the players that have left this game, 7 years for a mobile game is just absolutely crazy. When you look at, that the mobile game itself survived 7 years, there's not a lot that will last even 1 year, let alone 2 3 years to go in here and do this 7 years later. It's very interesting to see that the game is still doing well. I mean, like I said, crossover stuff like that, it does grow quite a bit. A lot of newer players still joining AFK Arena. They could really kind of incentivize, update some things in here, make it a lot easier, because for new players, it's overwhelming. And if you're a new player to AFK Arena, yeah, when you start going in here and seeing all of these different game modes, I know a lot of new players do get overwhelmed, thinking, even 3 4 5 years ago, how absolutely basic all of this was. It's super overwhelming for a lot of players. What's going on? Line me up. Thanks for joining us for the stream. Very true. I'm going to bite the bullet and build him. Yeah, Mauler faction. Yeah, that is the one where everyone struggles. Brendan, this is really, and you can see, guys, my light bearer and the Mauler tower in here. This is the tower where everyone struggles, is the Mauler tower. Most players hate the Mauler tower. Some players don't even choose to do the Mauler tower. And of course, if you don't have the Awakened Heroes built in here, good luck in the Mauler tower. That's where it gets tough with the SP effect and everything else. You're going to really, really struggle when you start getting to 2 teams, when you start getting to 3 teams within the Mauler tower itself, just because it is hard if you don't have the Awakened Heroes. And with that, even going back and looking or building any of those older Awakened Heroes, it's not worth it. Mystic Star Zone, a little bit rough. So right here, and I know Darky's in here. Yeah, we're last place again, not even coming close to going ahead and doing the top 3, which again, in here, when we look at the militia info, a lot of players don't play it. I know Darky's in here and a couple other of us content creators, but overall, yeah, I do what I can. I do my 9 hours every single time we do the Mystic Star Zone. If we come in the top, if we don't, it really doesn't make a big difference there. Literally better. Oh, Mauler Tower 1500, literally better to just eat paint chips. I agree with you. Mauler Tower has always been the bear. I've saved about 700 red chests, about to get mythic Estrilda, will she work without her engraving and SI 40 only? She'll work a lot better light. Yeah, I would definitely build her out because remember when you look at your awakened heroes, if you do not give her the plus 30 signature item, you're going to be missing a big chunk of her skills. She's not going to work without it. I must warn you right now when it comes to, a lot of the awakened heroes, if you do not put the time, if you do not put the build on these heroes, the effectiveness of these heroes goes right to the floor without having all of the skills and abilities. Because here, essentially, you're going to be missing this whole part, which again is just going to be absolutely detrimental to the hero. You have to go in there and you have to go in there and build out the awakened heroes. Absolutely requirement. Hate the Mauler Tower. Yeah, me too. Signature and engraving reset for Christmas. Yeah, Brendan, absolutely agree with you right there. I don't do the Star Zone. Dale, then you're just hurting. You're just honestly hurting your guild if you don't do the Star Zone at all. And even here, guys, if I can get some free copies of anybody, I'm all about it in the Star Zone. If I have the ability and going in there, I can actually get some arcane staffs. I'm absolutely all about it. Anytime that I can get free resources, if I can get a free awakened hero, it's super easy to do the Star Zone. You log in, and for me, usually 2 or 3 times a day. You log in, you go in there, and just be done. Sorry, I sent too quick. I don't have 3 straight hours to be in the game to Star Zone. So Dale, if you don't go in there and take a little node, so if you take a little node, I believe your shield on the small node is an hour and a half, meaning you would only have to go in there and you would have to only take 2 nodes. Again, it's better than 0, and you'll get all of the rewards in there versus going in there and just not doing anything. And of course, if you look, so the big node I believe is a 45-minute shield, or no, 15. The middle node is like a 45-minute shield. And then the small nodes, I believe, are an hour and a half shield. So even if you go in there and just want to get rewards, you can go in there, take a basic small node, get your hour and a half shield, do it twice, and just be completely done with it. Smaller tower, the toughest one to climb because not enough support. Yes. So Peter, if you remember the Mauler Tower, and if you played AFK Arena for a while, when you start looking at the Maulers for this, so Mauler support, look at the lineup we have here. So think about AFK Arena. Oh, the big ones are 30 minutes. There you go, 30, 45, or even more. When you start looking at Mauler support, we had Nimisu. Now, Nimisu was the hero that was literally the only support hero in the Mauler faction for like 3.5, 4 years, which again is just absolutely stupid that we never had any support. So when you started getting to 2 stages, everybody absolutely hated the Maulers because you didn't have the ability to use 2 support heroes within formations. You were literally stuck with using Nimisu in 1, and even then we didn't have Awaken. So literally for 6 years, players have hated the Mauler Tower. And even looking overall with the utility of the Maulers, there's not a crazy amount of utility. And like I said, if you're looking at Brutus, if you're looking at Sophia, if you're looking at Antandra, I do not advise, and I would not go back and build any of those heroes at all, just for the simple fact that they are now much older heroes. Not going to see any benefit or utility of them, short of the Mauler Tower. It really just sucked. Better have 9 furniture cards. Better have 40. Yeah. Line me up. Absolutely. Small nodes and medium. Yeah, and that's it. So line me up, like you said, better than nothing. Any place that you can get rewards in here, you can go in there and just do it, even if you get any of the rewards in there. Yeah, the legit hero, which would be crazy. And I thought about this too, is if we went over and they did an Awaken Wilder that was Nimisu from the Maulers. I'm like, that would be absolutely nuts. How about skip a hero release and drop some resources? Yes, 100%. And again, I feel like a couple of the sticking points, Brendan, is of course in the Ghoulish Gallery is having the ability to give us more staffs. We have talked about this again, time and time again. They need to have the ability to add arcane staffs into AFK rewards. Even if they go in here and they do build it out within the Field of Stars within this node that they've never filled. One down here, that's like let's say 1 staff, 2 staffs, 3 staffs, and that's it. So they could give you 3 staffs in a 24-hour basis, or even adding them to the chest, being able to get more staffs. And honestly, there's a couple different ways they could make it super effective with collection itself to really give and really build a lot more utility into the game mode. Um, Being able to have like 2 or 3 collections that you're leveling up versus just using all of the resources in there. There are so many different places that they could do. Still same problem for 5 years. Yeah, Peter. I mean, even lately, getting the 2 Mauler supports that we got, these 2 were an absolute game changer. Looking at Telmar and looking also right here at which again, he's not even a support. I think he's a warrior. No, what is he? Tank? Don't make him a tank. Where is this? There he is. They made him a ranger. Goran was another one. Even though he is a ranger, he technically is support as a buffer. This is another one again that they really need to. Dying in the SI40 for so many euros. What's the best place to buy a few? Lith might know that. I know Finn's not here today, but Lith would know. I don't buy any of those, any of the chests, but most of the time it's in the hero packs. I know Lith has talked about this before, is if you're looking to buy a few extra in there, I know most of the time they do come from like the hero packs, is where most players get them. Where if you wanted to buy some of the SI40 mats, so getting those higher level chests, where would you buy them from? This is stuck on the bottom. But I thought, again, I thought some of these were buying some of the resource packs in here. Was a good place, like here. So getting some of these epic emblem chests. Where's the best place? For SI40, buy the red chest. There you go. So buy the red chest instead of buying the epic emblem, buy the red chest. And again, some of these packs like here is going to be the one. And I know Lith again, or excuse me, Finn had talked about it before. Is getting them out of the hero bundles is where most players have seen the most reward out of these. Is picking them up and getting them out of, again, getting them out of some of these hero bundles is the place that they kind of recommended. Not many good place to buy white chest. Is the new Highborn worth building? Yes, she is worth building. So unfortunately, that she's another hero that, yes, absolutely well worth the build. We are seeing her used in a lot of different places. I'm going to continue doing summons on there. She is right now, as it's today, she is the best in slot within the Cursed Realm. She is the best in slot within the Nightmare Corridor formations. Both of those game modes using her, and we're also seeing her in the Treasure Scramble. Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Is there a guide on what SI chest? So the only ones you buy in there, light, is the yellow ones. So if you're buying them, and I think I already did it, that was again another recommendation, is when you're going through here and you're buying the chests within the Dismal Maze or the Labyrinth, buying the yellow ones. So what the yellow ones will give you is the random kind of roulette of what you have in here to use. So it's going to be a lot cheaper. And again, this is something that Finn has talked about, is going in, and if you're going through the Labyrinth, using your diamonds to buy the yellow chest. So there's actually a red chest that has a yellow border, and that is the one to buy. There's also a red chest that has a red border, and he said that is not the one that you want to get at all. And again, that's kind of what we've seen in there. Light is buying the red chest with the yellow border. That is the one that you want to buy. I don't know if there's anything in Reddit or anything else, but just look for the yellow border, and that is the one to pick up with diamonds. And again, that's what I've seen kind of through the years. Mad that she is a required hero, and I bet that Furry Hippo Dragon, he always plays with money, will buff her crazy too. If we get there, and honestly, line me up if we do, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I think we're just a little bit over. But yeah, we've been building her up. We saved up all of our emblems right here. We did purchase a couple emblems. We're going to continue building her out. We need another 6 copies, which is kind of crazy. I'm really hoping when we summon for the new regular Draconic hero that we pick up a couple copies of some of these Highborn Draconic heroes. It would be awesome. They request a priority order for summoning Awaken. Right now, honestly, the easiest way is, number 1 is Envy. This is the hero you want to build as an Awakened hero. This is going to be your first priority, followed by the Awakened version of Shamira. He is going to be your second priority. And I don't know how many that you have built already, because after that is going to be Astrilda. So looking at Astrilda, and then we get into Greyborn with the Awakened version of Falks. Just again, for utility wise. and then most players will either build Thorin or they will build Zora. So those are kind of just a quick rundown of the Awakened Heroes, and thinking of the first 3 or 4, they're kind of the priority to do that. Wait next hero builder like I did with Chad this year. Yeah, it takes a while. Line me up. It really, really does take a while. Yeah, just again a quick rundown of what we see within those Awakened Heroes. Those are really the top ones. Those are the top ones that I focus on my free to play account going through. But all right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me. Wait, Falks before Thorin. Yes, Falks before Thorin. The reason being, we are seeing Falks with a lot of utility in different game modes, including dominating the treasure scramble. Does work and very, very well. Yep. So right there, Envy, Shimira, Estrilda, Thorin, or Falks. Yep. I liked Falks out of there versus Thorin. Even Thorin, a lot of players use him at a very basic 1 copy, but Falks will do pretty well. And then, of course, we have to see exactly who we're going to get released for the next Awakened Hero. But again, guys, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me. It's awesome to see you chatting about AFK Arena, and we're going to have to see, because of the next hero is the dimensional hero that we're seeing. Is it going to be another crossover for 2025? It's going to be very interesting to see. So again, guys, that is going to do it for today's stream. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a great night. I got to go to football a little bit later. Lions play at 4. Busy Sunday overall. But again, thank you guys for joining me. Have a great day. And as always, thank you guys for watching.